side you want to start with? Okay, let's go there.
Hi, my name is Judy. I'm from Akron.
Hi, Judy from Akron, Ohio. Yes.
So first, I wanted to thank you guys for everything you've done. The show means a lot to me. I'm so sorry. So when I was going through my cancer treatments, I was being isolated. And it was difficult to not have anyone around me. But I had the show, and that was a comfort to me. It got me through a lot. So thank you. My question is, if you were to find out that a novel series had been written about your life, and there were chapters that hadn't happened yet, if you had the opportunity to read it, would you?
Start out with an easy one. Judy, thank you. Just before you go into your treatment during COVID,
I was diagnosed in 2020,
Yeah.
in March, right around when everything started happening. So I couldn't have anyone within 6 feet of me
Sure.
for a while because I was actually radioactive. So I had to be isolated. I couldn't have my pets. I couldn't have friends or family. I had to talk to my doctor for his last tour. So it was difficult, but I was able to have supernatural and a lot to be during that time.
I can't imagine
No.
taking comfort in supernatural.
No.
That must have been incredibly.
You must have been on all the drugs.
Gosh, that's incredibly hard. I think a lot of us went through that period thinking, God, this is hard. But that takes the cake. That sounds truly awesome.
And I'm so happy you're here. And to share that with us, that's wonderful. So,
Did you not know about the show Friends? That's comforting.
if
I would
things
definitely not read. I don't want to know where this is going. I would definitely not read the book.
But are you saying that like the future has not been written, but what, or are you saying that the future has been written?
It's like Chuck's books on supernatural.
Right, gotcha. No, I would not want to know. I would not want to know. Although there's that question of like, would you want to know when and how you die? And it's like, part of me would be like, yeah, so I know the time.
Or just be
Or yeah, so you said, we're not stop it.
not to get on a plane. Yeah.
Um,
Can we change the outcome? Can we rewrite the ending? Because that'll change things.
no, it's
Take
inevitable.
that far ahead.
Okay, well,
She didn't think that far ahead.
if this is just a first draft, then I'll read it. But if it's like the final first print edition, then I'm out, okay?
I'll write a forward to yours.
Great.
Yeah. It won't be kind.
No, I
Thank you, Judy. Glad you're here. Hi. Whoa.
Yeah, there you go, Jensen.
You are in enemy territory. You are literally across enemy lines right now. I said you're across enemy lines right now. Like this is the lion's den. I have a friend from Ohio who told me, told her I was coming here, and she said two things to me. She said, if you say OH, that happens. And to remember, everybody needs Michigan.
Well, we don't feel that way. We're
No, I applaud your courage.
So you know.
And I will say that in this building, we are all family. Outside this building, run. Okay.
It's true though, like this audience is very, I think in general, like very warm, very welcoming, very understanding and tolerant. There's a lot of pride, there's a lot of LGBTQIA accepted. But if you're from Michigan, that's a bridge too far.
What is your question?
Well, being from Michigan, I am a
couple of Michigonian, what are they called? Michiganders? What? Michiganders? Like goose and gander? This sounds like a fish. I thought it was like Michigander the other day. I'm so sorry that we're literally, it's a hot topic. Michiganders. It also sounds a little pervy. But not Michiganders. Okay. Okay. Let's try this. What is your question? She's just having regrets and having come up to the microphone.
My question is mainly for Jensen.
Okay, thanks.
I was wondering, do you have a favorite Bob Seger song? And Jensen, would you ever consider covering a song?
I mean, get it right now. Yes, love Bob Seger. Favorite? Oof. Misha, you talk.
I can't come up with the name of the single Bob Seger song.
I'm gonna go turn the page. Turn the page.
That was fantastic.
And Metallica covered it too, so if they're covering that song, Jesus. Yeah. Say no. Sing it.
Dance, monkey.
Yeah, dance. All right, that was on the one. No, I'm just kidding. I know. No one wants to see that.
Jensen and I, and speaking of taking off, just in the green room, we were both like, look at this. What's going on here? We gotta get this, like, we're doing sit-ups this summer. We're working this out. And we are. We're gonna get fit as fiddles, and then we're gonna do a poster together. It's just for me,
Okay.
but I think it'd be nice.
To replace the one that you already have.
Yeah, it's worn out.
It's a little tired. Thank you. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name is Carrie and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. This is my first convention, so I'm just so excited to be here and be able to ask you guys a question. So, yeah. So my question is, we all know Supernatural has such an amazing soundtrack, just so many great songs throughout the series. If you guys could create a soundtrack of your lives, what artists or songs or albums would be on that soundtrack?
I mean, there's a lot. I have a love for all music. I mean, I went and saw a Zydeco band the other night. Some of you probably don't even know what that is. That is deep Cajun music from like swamp. And I was out there dancing with my youngest daughter, and we were, teaching her how to do step and stuff. But then, but then I'll also go to a Slipknot concert. And then I'll go, not all the time, but I can appreciate like going and hearing like classical music too. I think music is, I would never want to box myself into one kind of a genre, but I will say there is a song that I listen to quite often, and it is a song that for some reason, and I don't know why, but it's like, so I have first met around the neighborhood or wherever, I had them, don't lose your minds, but I did because the stereo never worked. And it was on purpose. They disconnected it and then just let it rot because Jared and I would use to turn it on and flare it, and then they couldn't get us back in the scene. They also disconnected the horn. They disconnected, remember the spotlights that were on the side like season 1? We had to take those out because we never got a scene completed without those flashing in the camera. So we were children basically, and I had to child-proof the car. And so when I was fortunate enough to get the car for the end of the series, she was effectively just a prop and didn't run very well. There was a lot of problems with the engine. There was lots of problems with a lot of the running systems with the automobile. So I sent it to a place that does that kind of work, and I said, make her safe enough for me to drive my kid. And so they revamped the engine and they tuned it all up and they put in new brakes and put in a whole bunch of stuff. And then there were 2 things that I added. One of those things was air conditioning because Texas. And the other one was a way to play music. So they didn't change the dash. The radio is still there and it still doesn't work. But what they did was they put something in the glove box that's just a Bluetooth. So now my phone can connect, and every time I get in the car, and it's not like it's the last song I play. I don't know how it's like almost it knows, but it's Metallica, Wherever I May Roam. I just always thought that song was so appropriate, not only for Winchesters, but it feels very appropriate for me personally, because I do we work all over the place, and it's wherever I may roam is home. So that's certainly a song that would be on my soundtrack of life.
How's that for an answer, huh? Big Dad Sucker. What calls you maybe? Is that where we're going?
Anything by Taylor Swift?
I have my family in. I'm not going to top your question. I'm just going to pick up the sloppy seconds from your answer. When I started working on Supernatural, we were trying to figure out with the family, like maybe they could stay in LA and I could go back and forth, and then we had conventions, and the kids were kind of traveling around with me most of the time, some of the time not. And one day, Wes, my oldest, said, "Where's home?" And so I made him this little flag that said home on it. It was like different pieces of fabric sewn together. And wherever that, we just brought that everywhere we went. Wherever that flag went was home. And it's actually true. You kind of bring that with you, if you have to. And that actually feels like being on the road can feel like home if you let it. But we had to do that for the kids.
Sure.
Otherwise, they were just at sea.
Yeah, we've moved quite a bit, Denise and I, and I've always said wherever you are, that'll be home. Because I'll have to go off and I'll have to do things. But wherever I come back to is going to be you and the kids. So wherever you guys are, that's home. And I think I actually told my kids that at one point. I was like, listen, wherever mom is, that's home. Mom equals home. Yeah, mom equals home. Well, what about you, Dad? I'm a rolling stone.
Did they roll their eyes at you?
I think that'll come in a couple of years when they realize what I said. Thank you.
I would just say one more thing about music. When I was young, my parents separated when I was very little, and my dad always sang. He had his guitar with him. I have these photos of me when I was just a toddler sleeping in my dad's guitar case. And there was nothing more comforting to me than the sound of my dad singing and playing his guitar. And even now, as a grown-up, sometimes, not a grown-up, as an advanced middle-aged man, I'll ask my 80-year-old dad, like, hey, Dad, can you sing me something? Because it's just
it's just so deeply comforting. So.
Does he still play?
Yeah, he does.
That's awesome.
He's got a great voice.
That's great. What happened?
Skips a generation.
Okay.
Hey guys, my name is Alex. I'm from Delaware here in Ohio. Thank you for your show. It's amazing. I've watched it twice. I can watch it 100 times. It's an amazing show.
Not missed by that.
This was an anniversary present for my wife. She will never top this day that I get to ask you guys a question. She's sitting right now.
Well, that's
And
awesome.
she said 100 million times that she loves you, Jensen. Sorry, Misha, nothing against you.
No.
You are amazing. I got a comment and a question. So, comment for Misha, question for Jensen. Misha, you were amazing in that final scene as Jazz. Now, my question for Jensen is, you went on the inside of the podcast. I loved your episode. You said that when you found out about being dying, which we did, or some of us did, some of us didn't, I just you said it yourself. That you reached out to 50 to kind of like get yourself into it. You know, you had a hard time letting go of it. If you can, if you want, what did 50 tell you? Because to be honest, to this day still, I'm having a hard time letting go of me. Played that character that to this day, I'm still having hard feelings to let them go. So thank you guys so much. If you'd like to answer that question, that'd be awesome.
Sure. Well, Alex, right? Alex, thank you for sharing. Thanks for being here. And I'll start my answer by saying this: that Dean's not dead. He's right here. He's right there. So we got brought here, and I actually got brought to LA, and we got sat down in the writer's office there in the production office in Los Angeles, and which we had done for the first time in 15 years because they were going to pitch us the end of the series. And we sat down and we said, okay, this is kind of the broad strokes of the season. And I was like, yeah, get to the end. And for some reason, I felt like one of the brothers was going to have to go. And I even had a dream about it, which I've shared multiple times. And some of you have heard that story, but where it was Dean that was left alone. And he had to find a way to carry on. And so I wasn't prepared to hear that Dean was the one that was going to go. And it took me back. It took me by surprise. And I was like, okay, all right. Well, let me marinate on that a little bit, guys. Let me get back. And I got back home and I was like talking to my wife about it. I was like, I don't know. It's not like what I was thinking. It's not what I was hoping. It's not kind of how I saw that story going. And she suggested, she's like, you should reach out to Eric. And you should talk to him and see what he thinks, because he's the guy who created it. And he's been away from it, so he can look at it kind of from a different perspective. So I called Eric up. I said, hey man, let me know when you guys can kind of talk. I want to bend your ear about something, which I do from time to time. That was not out of the ordinary. Kirby's been very much an amazing mentor to me in a variety of things. So I got on the phone with him and I basically pitched that they had pitched me. And I said, I'm having trouble, kind of accepting this story, this finality for me. I'm like, man, can you tell me what you think? And he said, let me think on this for a minute. I don't want to give you a knee-jerk reaction to what I think. Let me take some time, and I'll send you an email in a couple of days. And so he did. He was about to get on a plane, and he sat on that plane and thought about that situation, and he sent me this beautifully crafted email because he's an amazing writer. And
Yeah, we're even 50 responses from you.
Oh, even on text messages are just so
Yeah.
crafty.
Yeah.
And he sent me this email that basically said that it was Dean that needed to go because he wouldn't be able to survive without Sam. And it would have been destructive. Dean would have probably gone into a dark place and drowned his sorrows with all wrong things. And I think he's right. I think that was, Dean needed that connection. He needed those brothers in arms. Now he had lost Cass, he had lost, he was kind of, he relied on that camaraderie as something to fight for. Fighting for himself was not something that I think Dean necessarily ever thought he needed to do. He always fought for somebody else. And so, in order for the story to kind of go the way it did, it had to be Dean to let go. And it had to be him to be the one to hang it up and beg Sam to continue on, because Sam had the capacity to live his life as a way of honoring his brother. And I don't think that Dean would have been able to do that. I think Sam was a stronger character inherently than Dean was. I mean, it's the Luke Skywalker Han Solo situation. And so I'm just doing a horrible job of telling you what Eric said, but he said it in such a beautiful way that I was like, that makes a lot more sense. And I thanked him, and I called up the dad and pop singer in LA, and I said, all right, let's rock and roll. Let's do it. And by the time we got to shoot that scene, I was fully on board with this being the hero moment that Dean had been living his whole life for. And he was doing it because he knew that it was time to let Sam live and continue on. And that was his wish, and it was time for him to go. And so, even though it was tough to watch and it was maybe tough to let go of him from a fan perspective, from my perspective, I believe it was the better way to go as far as the story goes. And it made good TV. At the end of the day, it was compelling. It was a compelling story to watch, and it made people feel things. And at the end of the day, that's what we try to do. We get up there, we tell these stories, we play these characters, because we hope to make you feel something. So I didn't hear you. Yell that again. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Uma.
I don't know.
So I didn't really have a question because my friends are meet up here. The last panel, Jeffrey D. Morgan said that he really wanted baby. And he did not think that you knew how to drive a stick, Jensen.
Well, that tells you what Jeff knows, because baby's an automatic.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of the story that you told about like having to have the spotlight removed and all the bells and whistles removed from baby. I had the pimp mobile. With hydraulics in it. And one day Jared was in the passenger seat in the scene, and the first day he came to the window and he was like, don't touch the buttons. And Jared just went like this. They were renting that car. They never actually bought the pimp mobile. They were renting it from this guy who was like, sweet Jesus, I'm going to retire off this. Because they kept renting the car from him year after year. And he made probably 10 times the value of the car, renting the car for the show. And so as soon as the first day he walked away, after saying, don't touch the buttons, Jared started pressing the buttons. And it was just jumping up and down. Like a real lowrider, like jumping up and down.
No, it looked like a Snoop Dogg video.
It was amazing. But of course, it broke the car. And it cost him $15,000 to repair the hydraulics. The car, by the way, was worth about $10,000. And then when they brought it back to set, they disabled the
They couldn't do that because they had to to chair-proof the car. But to quickly answer your question, my father made me learn to drive with a standard transmission. So I'm just fine driving standard.
Our kids aren't going to learn how to drive standard.
They won't. In
Unless
fact,
we get
kids
a fancy
these
car.
days aren't even learning how to drive.
Right.
Period. They're like, well, just Uber.
I was a big fan of standard transmission, and I always wanted a standard transmission car. And then car manufacturers stopped making standard transmissions. Like a lot of cars can't buy standard.
No, there's only like,
You have to go
mostly
to
like
Europe.
sports cars or stuff like that. But it's, I had, in LA, I was on Days of Our Lives. So you're the people who watch that. Got it. And I was 19 years old, 20 years old, or whatever, and I was like, oh, I am making some dough. I'm gonna give myself a toy. And I got a 1973 Ford Bronco. 4 on the floor. Big, like one of those giant, like, gear shifts. and I drove that thing all over LA. And people are like, why are you driving this? I'm like, 'cause it's awesome! But I think that was probably the last standard transmission that I had. Jeff and I talked about it being great. I did go to Europe at one point. I was in Scotland, and I rented a car.
And you rent a standard.
And it happened to be, it was like a little Audi or something that was a standard transmission. The steering wheel's on the other side of the car, which means that now I'm shifting with my left hand, going through roundabouts, screaming like crazy. I will say that we were there for like 2 weeks or something. I got pretty good. So yeah, I'm ambidextrous when it comes to standard transmissions. Just so you know, take that, Jeff.
I was just in Norway. I'm not trying to brag, but I was just in Norway, and I rented a standard transmission car as well. And I was driving I basically drove all around the country, and I was like, my God, these people are so civilized. It's ridiculous. Like the speed limit says 90 kilometers, and everyone goes 90 kilometers. I'm like, fuck this, I'm gonna go 120. And I was enjoying the highway. And right toward the end of the trip, I noticed like a little camera on the side of the highway. And then I noticed another one like 5 miles down the road. And I've already got 2 moving violations in the mail, but I know that more are coming. These conservative European wusses, these slow drivers, live it up, come on, push it.
Yeah, no, they figured out they don't need to have like a cop hiding behind a bush somewhere. So just throw up a camera and be like,
I said sorry with
that's how they sound.
Why?
Ticket. Conversation. I don't know where we are. Where are we going? What's happening? We over here? Hi.
Hi, Tessa.
My question is, were there any moments, scenes, or episodes that you supernaturally where you were especially proud of your acting because you had done something new and you felt you did it really good, or you like ran really hard to finish it?
There was a scene, gosh, I don't remember what season it was. I want to say maybe season 8. It's when Sam is possessed by Gadriel. Season 9, I was really close. And Bob Singer was directing. You were back behind the monitors. And in this scene, Sam, who's now possessed as Gabrielle, is coming up toward me. And Bob Singer, he was a big fan of the 1970s shot that he really wanted to get, which was just me punching directly into the camera. And then Sam, as Gabriel, was going to pass out. And this was like kind of just a cool moment of just being like in tune with the choreography of the moment. And so I threw the punch directly into the lens, and everyone behind Video Village, which is where the Washington monitors, where Jensen was, and Bob Singer was, started laughing. And Jensen came out into, we were in the kitchen, we were shooting in the kitchen, and Jensen said, "Misha, it's fucking hilarious." Oh, you weren't kidding. Because he registered the look on my face, and then he said, "Come here." We went back to the monitors, and they did the playback. And the idea was the fist goes right into the lens on the camera. And I did this. So I would say that was that moment for me. Nailed it.
I'm going to answer for him. And I'm going to give you, instead of a moment about me, I'm going to tell you a moment in which I sat back and became an audience member in a scene watching this man do beautiful work. And there's many to choose from, but obviously the one that comes to mind the quickest is that scene in the bunker. And I know it was something that he was struggling with. I know it was not an easy scene to perform, but to also digest personally, because it was his goodbye. And it was difficult for me, opposite him, watching him give such a great performance, to continue to stay in the character as Dean, because Jensen was watching this great performance from his friend, and also a character that he is so fond of, and I was very much taken out of the scene. For me, luckily it was on his coverage, so and to see the Dean washing away, and Jensen just going like, but and I had to remember, like, I need to give him, I need to stay in it for him, he was so distractingly good in that moment that it made my job very difficult, because all I wanted to do was sit there and watch him perform, because he was doing such a bang-up job and in my mind, I was sitting there thinking that, it was like this flashback. They say that, like, when you're about to die, like, the light flashes before you. In my mind, I was flashing back to Lazarus Rising and seeing him walk in the barn with the sparks flying, and I was all of a sudden, like, all these clips in my mind of Castiel and walking into the lake, and like all of these things that were ingrained in my memory, and seeing this now character have to say goodbye, but also knowing that my friend was in there having to struggle with this as well. And I just thought he did such an artful job and such an incredibly nuanced performance in that moment that I was soliloquy I just gave, I can't even look at it. But I will say that's instead of picking one that I was proud of for myself, I'm going to pick one that I was proud of for him, and that was that.
spend so much time with characters and watching them grow and evolve and change and frankly degrade is really powerful. It's like being, you know, we say supernatural family, but that's what happens in a family. You watch a family grow up, right? And we also had this very surreal, and I surmise never to be replicated in our lifetimes, experience of also getting to know the characters that we were playing so well, and the characters that we were playing opposite so well, that it started to blur the lines internally for us. I think I'm speaking for you as well. Like you said, Dean is still in here, Cass is still in here, but I know that Dean is, like, Dean to you, I'm sure, feels like a part of you. Not just a character, not just a wardrobe that you put on, not just a character that you put on, but actually a part of you. And that is, it's such a strange thing. So when one character was saying goodbye to the other, we were really broken up about it. Like, we were broken up about it because it felt real to us because we sort of lost our minds.
I'll answer. I'll give you one that I was thinking like, all right, maybe not a performance. I guess it was a performance, but one that I was like, I'm gonna hang my hat on that one. The fact that I learned how to tap dance. With everyone. Yeah, it was like two like lessons for like an hour or two, and learning the choreography, but then also learning how to do the steps and stuff. And it was, I mean, I think there was maybe only one shot that they used that wasn't me. It was my double who was an actual tap dancer. But it was like 99% me doing all that terrible dancing. But I was proud that I still had a little bit of mojo in me to get that done. So yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Selena. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. And I just want to start off by saying thank you for being here because I moved to Columbus for a music career and I get to stand there and talk about my dreams. My question kind of goes off of what you were just saying on the show. I started watching the show when I was 4 years old, and it ended when I graduated. That being said,
Not middle-aged, elderly men.
I went to this woman for 18 years. It was beautiful.
Did you have parents?
The show was a lot of things for me, and basically the thing that stuck with me the most throughout those 15 years of watching it was the value of family and blood, and I guess I just didn't really know what that meant to you guys personally.
And we were all family.
In your lives.
Oh, in our real lives. In our real lives or in this world?
Like any of the family values that we're talking about that's shown in the show.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think that's a very easily adaptable, universal slogan. You know, they say that your family is the family you're born into, and your friends are the family you choose. So I feel like the people you surround yourself are your family, whether it is by blood or whether it is by choice. And you know, we genuinely do feel like family members. You know, we spend so much time together that there's an unbreakable bond at this point between a lot of this cast and a lot of the crew and now a lot of the fandom that can only be described as a family. So it is certainly seeped into our real lives quite heavily. And I love that slogan for this show, but I think it's also a very relevant slogan to what has now happened post-show and has always happened kind of outside the show is that there's this family that was built around the show, but also, you know, family is who you decide family is. And I think we were very fortunate in the fact that we got to pick the litter with you guys and with the people that we have with us. So.
Hey guys, my name is Janelle. I have my questions for Jensen. Sorry, Misha. Can you please tell us anything or everything you can about Countdown of
I can't, honestly, I wish I could tell you, and this isn't like they've sworn me to secrecy or anything. I've only read one script. It was an early draft, and I know that Darren is very rigorously finishing some other scripts, and then he's going to go back and start doctoring some of the newer scripts and getting the whole team together. So I have a very loose idea I have a broad stroke kind of idea of what's going to happen in the new show, but I have a better idea of kind of where this character is coming from. I don't necessarily know where he's going and how he's going to get there, which is one of the reasons why I love doing serial shows instead of movies. Not that I don't do movies, but with a movie, there's a beginning, middle, and end. It's right there in the script. When you're doing a series, you don't know where that train's in. You don't know where that train's going to go, and it can go anywhere. And a lot of times, really good writers will pay attention to what's happening in the early episodes, and they will write to the chemistry or write to the strength of the writer or of the actor, and so it can kind of direct the storyline in a way that maybe was unbeknownst to them at the beginning. And so I love that ride and that journey that I get to go on, just slightly before the audience gets to go on. As far as Countdown goes, it's this kind of like unique special task force that gets put together by like the secret government agency, and we're off the books, and the black ops kind of thing, and we're going after big bad guys internationally. So it's going to be action. It's going to be a lot of the movies that I love watching. Sicario and Heat and heist movies and things like that. A lot of that going on. But there's also some underlying character things that happen that might make it difficult for some of these characters to perform the way they want to. And I think that's going to make it really, really interesting. So I'm excited about it. Start filming in a couple of months. I'm excited to share more with you. Very unique rendition of the Last Question song. Some of you have heard this, some of you have never heard this, some of you will never forget it. I don't know, you're doing well.
Okay, it's the last question.
Okay, it's the last question.
We're really giving it.
Oh, we're just gonna do it? Oh, God.
So this is Kat.
Hey, Kat, what do you think? Pretty good view up here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kat, where are you from?
I'm from Youngstown.
OH? Right it is. What is your question?
Well, I want to start by saying congratulations on your new show. But my question is for Misha.
Yes!
Nothing that I can tell you about, because it's not appropriate for this audience. But I've been working on some very adult-themed projects.
He's doing a poster later this summer.
I'm working on developing a feature film that I hope to shoot in the winter of next year. And I can tell you that it has some political themes, and it's about this country and the divided nature of this country that plays out in the family. Part of the reason that I wanted to make the movie is that there's this epidemic of people relying on sleeping pills, and I thought, what if I could be a movie that would serve that function?
Makes sense.
Save lives.
I almost fell asleep during your one-sentence pitch, so yeah. It's working. It's an elevator pitch to snooze and
It's already working.
He's all the way on the right.
What?
Oh,
As a president.
Yeah, the president, I'll bet you do. Is that the guitar version of a rip shot? All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody.